Most real estate agents would not hire themselves. And that's one of the reasons why most agents struggle to close deals. 47% of the industry last year closed one deal or less. That is beyond below minimum wage. And I don't want that to be the case for you, but you need to take a step back and audit yourself and put yourself in the consumer's shoes and take an unbiased approach to your business so that you can start to understand and better identify where you need to improve and what you can do differently going forward so that you can close more leads into clients and eventually close deals. So I'm going to walk through 5 different questions that you need to ask yourself honestly. And again, the key word is honestly, so that you can start to transform your business and become a dominant agent in your market. I know you can do it, but you need to be smart about how you're carrying yourself throughout your business. So let's dive into what these 5 things are. What's up, guys? My name is Mike Sherrard with eXp Realty. I train thousands of agents every year to scale their business, and this is a topic that's really passionate to me. And the reason being is that I see a lot of agents not achieving their potential, and as soon as I start poking holes in how they're running the business, the light bulb starts to go off, and they start to realize what they could be doing differently going forward. So let's dive into what these 5 things are. Now, the list starts to get more important as we go through each of the numbers to the most important at the very end, but the first one is, are you presenting yourself properly? Now, that doesn't mean you have to be in a suit and tie at all times. I'll get to that. It means that you need to be tailoring your presence to your target avatar. And let's say you want to break into luxury like I did as a new agent. Well, if you look at the concept that the average person worked their whole life to buy this multi-million-dollar home, and they're looking at putting trust in probably their most expensive investment or asset into you. If you were maybe 45, 55 years old and you've got a $3 million house and you're looking at putting trust in an agent, how do you want them to look? Do you want them to show up casually? Do you want them to show up with, a shirt that is not looking tidy or it's got wrinkles in it? Or do you want somebody that shows up clean, that shows up with intent, that shows up with integrity, and that presents themselves really well like a high-end agent would? If you're middle class, and this is where when I prospected luxury neighborhoods, I always wore a suit. And when I prospected and door-knocked middle-income neighborhoods, average blue-collar neighborhoods, I wore a polo and jeans or slacks. And the reason being is because a suit did not align with them. It almost seemed too overwhelming, too salesy, and they wanted somebody that they could relate to and connect with. So I dressed differently, but I was always presentable. Everything was clean, everything was tucked in, everything looked orderly and tidy, and I showed up with energy, with conviction, with confidence, and I presented myself properly. But if you want to break into a certain market, or if you simply just want to close a listing presentation or a buyer's presentation, you need to make sure that that first impression is dialed and that you're showing up how you would want an agent to show up if they were there to help you buy or sell your next home. Number 2, unbelievably important. Are you constantly learning, and are you actually knowledgeable about your market and about real estate? Let me explain. Market, real estate. Let's start with the market. There are so many times I ask agents how the market is doing in their specific city, because I have agents across pretty much every state, every province, and I'll ask new agents that are struggling, how's the market going there? And they will give me a general response. Oh, it's doing okay. Oh, it's good for buyers. Oh, it's good for sellers. Oh, there's not enough inventory. Very generic responses. But when I was still in production, if you asked me how the market was going, I would ask you, well, what type of home are you looking for? Okay, is it detached, single family? Is it semi-detached? Is it an apartment? Okay, well, where are you looking to buy or sell? Is it in the center downtown area? Which quadrant is it in my city? And then I was able to give detailed responses of average days on market, list to sales price, months of inventory, and how the market was doing for that specific type of property in any specific area they were looking for. And so, can you answer that for your market? If the answer is no, how do you call yourself an industry expert if you're not religiously studying the market data so that you can give confident answers with details and context to anybody that asks about the market? Not only is that just you doing your job, But you would want to hire somebody that knows the answers that you're looking for, because essentially what we're doing as real estate agents is being the trusted, guided resource for somebody to buy or sell or invest in real estate. But how can you do that if you don't understand the market data? Let's go to real estate as a whole. There are so many times I've seen new agents go into, for example, a mechanical room, and they can't point out any of the different components in the mechanical room. They also don't understand any of the different types of flooring, what the maintenance is like, different type of countertops, different type of cabinets, different roofing. Like, there's so many things that you need to understand about real estate so that when people ask you questions, you can actually answer it. And it's not that difficult. It just comes from studying and immersing yourself in this space. But in order to become that trusted resource, you need to study and constantly be learning. And unfortunately, most agents that aren't closing many deals simply just aren't learning and able to give proper answers about the market or about real estate. Number 3 is, are you actually different than other agents? And I want you to really think about this, because I'll ask this to people and they say, well, yeah, of course. And I'll say, okay, well, how? And their response will be, well, I go so far above and beyond. Well, doing what? Well, I walk them through every step. I hold their hand every step of the process. Well, that's the bare minimum to entering this game. Like, that's required. Everybody needs to do that. Otherwise, you shouldn't have a license. So what do you actually do differently? Have you become really good at a certain niche? Is it first-time home buyers? Is it luxury? Is it relocation? Is it farm properties, acreages? Or, like me in the beginning, I became really good at social media marketing to get more exposure on clients' homes. And so I fully immersed myself into learning Facebook ads at the highest level in terms of understanding how to create engaging YouTube videos that got thousands of views on every property tour that I did, which they did. And so I learned all of these different things that I could clearly, definitively show what I did above and beyond other agents. I didn't just say it, I could show it. And so can you show what you do above and beyond other agents? Because again, going back to the concept and essence of this video, would you hire yourself if you were interviewing multiple agents and one of them showed up and was like, here's the exact things that I do above and beyond any other agent and the difference, and I can physically show you, you're probably gonna put a bit of trust in that person. But if they just show and say, well, I love working with people, I love helping people, and I go so far above and beyond and I'll walk your hand, then they're gonna be like, well, yeah, but that's what the other 6 agents I talked to said. So you really need to understand that you need to have a value proposition that differentiates you. And if you don't have one, that's okay. At least today you learned that you need one, so go start to create one and start to figure out what you actually do differently. Number 4 is one of the ones that helped me win so many listings over both agents in multiple listing presentations and getting expired listings from sellers that ended up reaching out to me saying, hey, I couldn't sell it with this person, I'd like to work with you. Do you communicate effectively, honestly, and strategically? Every time I went into a listing presentation from a property that expired and the seller ended up getting in touch with me to talk about selling their home, I would ask this one simple question, which is, what didn't you like about your past agent? Almost every single time the response was poor communication. That's it. They didn't really harp on, well, they weren't all crazy about marketing, or they didn't communicate. I got no feedback from the open houses that happened. I got no feedback from the showings that happened. I wasn't aware of new properties that came on the market that competed with mine, or one that sold that impacted the price of ours. And so when you look at this, communication is not only the number 1 skill you need to thrive in real estate, but it's the number 1 thing most buyers and sellers care about. So what I did with sellers is every Monday I would block the day off and I would give detailed updates as to what properties would come on the market and would be competition for theirs, or what sold, or what expired, or what terminated, how the open house feedback was, how the marketing and advertising is doing for the Facebook ads that I'm running, and the YouTube ads that I posted, and the YouTube videos that I uploaded, and all of the different details that they would care about, so they wouldn't have to ask me, how are things going? I would tell them how things are going. I would give them feedback. And that was an unbelievable way to retain clients and also get repeat and referral. But also going back to what I said about communicating honestly, that is really important. If you got negative feedback in a showing, don't just tear your seller apart, but give them and maybe put a bit of a, lighthearted spin on it, but be honest with them about the feedback. It was overpriced. It was dirty. This was wrong. This could be improved. Be honest. Don't be afraid to offend them. You're doing a disservice by not being honest with them. If something could be done differently in order to get better results that you actually have control over, they have control over, and you don't bring it up, you're not doing your job. And a lot of agents are afraid to be honest because they don't want to disappoint their buyers or disappoint their sellers, but you end up hurting them in the end by covering up the truth. And the last part of this is just going back to understanding that communication is the most important thing. You have to study communication. Right? You look at my video about how to win every listing presentation. If you want that, just comment below and say listing presentation video. And I break down the 6 basic human needs and how to tailor your listing presentation to any type of person. And when you can do that, you become a weapon because now you can tailor your presentation to what you know people care about. That's gonna set you apart. And lastly, number 5, are you proactive and are you resourceful? And this goes back to the concept of any top agent that I know is a yes man or a yes woman. If their client asks them, hey, do you have somebody that can help with staging? Yes. Do you have somebody that can help with moving? Yes. Do you have a recommendation for utilities? Yes. Do you have a recommendation for furniture? Yes. The answer's always yes. Now, even if you don't have the resource to do that, be resourceful and find it. Because if you can become that trusted resource for anything, people are gonna start to trust you, and even after you help them buy a house or sell a house, they're always gonna go to you when they need something. Maybe it's landscaping, maybe it's, interior design, maybe it's roofing, anything. But if you start to create this ecosystem of resources, local trusted resources, so that you can say yes and help people, people are just gonna keep coming to you, and you're going to be of value. And when it comes to you hiring yourself, or would you hire yourself, you need to be seen as a valuable resource because you would want to be able to go to your agent and get very simple answers so that you don't have to go figure it out yourself. That's going to allow you to trust your agent and want to work with them again. Now, if you have any questions about anything that I walked through or just the concept of hiring yourself, just drop a comment below. We reply to every comment. Now, if you really want to scale your business, check out this next video because it will give you the entire blueprint and it's going to make sure that you really differentiate yourself because it's about creating your buyer's presentation and how you can create that unique value proposition for your business.